You're listening to the Light Over Time podcast with David Sargent and Korey Bartos. It is September 14th, 2025. It has been a very long time since we've had an episode. I have been insanely busy, like more than I ever have in my entire life, period. We have quite a lot to talk about. We can start jumping right into stuff after I ask you how you've been.
I've been good. Really productive. Haven't slowed down the shooting, and we can talk about all that later. But work's been busy. Photo taking has been busy. Life outside of that has been busy. So not slowing down much.
Word. I feel that. I think the way we're going to do this to try and kind of breeze through stuff in a meaningful way is I'm going to get into kind of a little bit of a TLDR about my last little bit shooting and things like that. We'll have you do the same. And then I have just a list of a bunch of the new gear. I'm just going to list it all off, and then we're going to pick what we think is the most important thing to talk about in that regard. We're going to remind you at the end of the episode about the photo share, which will be in the very next episode. So 2 weeks from you hearing this on the day it was released, I guess the end of September, we will do the neighborhood photo share. So that is, we'll talk about that at the end of the episode.
Thank you for plugging that early.
Yeah, so that is still happening, y'all. We just kind of we both got insanely busy. So things are insane. I should have just watched episode 56 before doing this episode because I don't remember where we left off.
Oh boy.
However, it's been since the late July that I've had an A9 III. And I don't actually know if we talked about the fact that I got an A9 III on this show at all.
I think we talked about it on the last episode because I feel like I remember us going through this exact thing.
Right on. So if that's the case, I have this. It was really hard to make the decision on waiting for a new video camera because I was mainly in the market to get a good video camera. I was pretty happy with my A7CR. Now that I've done a couple of projects running this camera in like S-Log3 and S-Cinetone, and I've been matching it with both the A7CR and the A7 IV, I've been able to kind of run it through its paces as a video camera. Incredibly happy. Couldn't be happier. 4K 120 is great for what really just super fast action. I don't really do it for B-roll. I'm still 4K 60 for that, but it looks good. It's super sharp. The autofocus is amazing. It has basically all the features.
Yeah.
I do slightly wish I could have afforded an A1 II, but I just couldn't. I got this on a pretty good deal. And I think it would have cost me like $2,500 more to get an A1 II. But we've been birding a little bit. We obviously have got birds coming back. It's kind of fall. Jacob, please stop. And so we did some Tawas shooting. We actually just got back from Waldemar here in Lansing, like right before this episode. I do miss the reach a little bit. 24 megapixels is less than I'm used to for birds. But what's kind of interesting as well is Elle is using the A6700 and the 100 to 400. So we're both at a 200 to 600 equivalent kind of situation. She's at 150 to 600, but
that's kind of nice.
Yeah, so, I'm not regularly getting a little bit more reach and kind of like getting a better shot or whatever. We're both trying to get closer and closer to birds, and for our purposes, it hasn't been too detrimental. But not being able to punch into 900 is kind of a bummer. But super good. Starting to get used to throttling the super fast, FPS for stills.
Yeah.
I'm on medium the whole time. I almost never use 120 because I would lose my mind and I'd have way too many photos. Absolutely.
What is medium?
I think it's 30. I think it's 30, and I've gotten really, really used to. I might have changed it. I might have dropped it to 20.
Yeah.
But I've gotten really used to just kind of baby pressing my button. But I also, when I'm shooting birds, I stay in pre-capture. So I'm only doing pre-capture.
Yeah.
Which has allowed me to take way less photos because I don't have to sit there and kind of do like the like da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da while you're waiting for the bird to kind of start do it like you think it's about to jump. So I'm not taking all these extra photos I don't have to take.
I never really thought to work it that way.
Yeah.
And when I was testing it, I was like, "Man, I'm just like so many photos. It's racking up images." And now I guess if I had raw pre-capture, I
Right.
would try to work with it more and I would have learned to use it that way.
Yeah.
I'm very, very envious of that.
It's super nice to be able to just kind of half press and like when a thing happens, you just hit it and you know that you got a half second before you press the button.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a lot more like birds taking off a branch. Um, and then the other really interesting thing about the A9 III, because it can go up in most modes, it can go up to 1/16,000th of a second.
Mhm.
But some it can go up to 1/80,000th of a second, which is insane. Um, where that's really, really helpful and where I'm missing less is in situations where it's really sunny out, but you're in the woods. And so when you breach the woods and you go back into daylight, I'm not maxing out my shutter speed. It can
Mm.
still stay an aperture priority and it'll just like crank my shutter and then
Yeah.
I'll be able to get more. A lot of the time it'd be overexposed and I'd have to go and like crank my exposure compensation way, way, way up.
Right.
Um or whichever way you're going, up or down, because you're limited to with my A7CR 1/4000th, right?
Mhm.
Which if you're, you're usually probably, if you're going between shade and stuff, at least 800 ISO or something, let's say for birds, because you want to keep your shutter pretty quick.
Mhm.
So if you're even any north of that, 1600, 2000, right when you step out of the woods with 1/4000th of a second, you're pinging 1/4000th. Like you cannot get it any darker.
Yeah.
Um, so you'll just end up with overexposed photos, which is kind of a bummer because that's much harder to recover than underexposed.
Yeah.
So that's been cool. Knowing that it can go up to 12 one 12,000th and 1/16,000th of a second and still retain all that stuff is pretty good.
To have to explain it just like exposes it as this like niche solution in this for a niche problem, but at the same time there's so many birders, there's plenty of people who have yet to realize this benefit of the global shutter giving you that pro. So that's cool, that's
Yeah,
really cool.
yeah, right. Like, yeah, it's almost only happening when I'm going from a shaded area to a direct sun area.
Totally. Yeah.
But when it does, like, I'm getting those
You're
shots and
safe.
I'm not missing them, which is awesome.
Hmm.
I've been pretty happy about that. So, obviously, I still think it's the best implementation of a screen ever. I'm so happy about the flip up for photos and flip out for video thing. That's epic.
Yeah.
The body is great. I'm super happy with it. I love having a physical dial for changing my drive mode.
Yep.
So I can just go right down to single or up to a million if I want. And then obviously I have a hotkey for I can hold. I have the hold function to go to 120 if I really just want to blast away.
Nice.
Which I don't know. I haven't really played with doing that for like a video thing, but I think it'll be cool to implement that on certain video projects where you want to have like a really sick, 3 second, uh, like really high quality slow mo shot kind of, right? Um, so I'm gonna play with that, especially with the shooting sports that we do. I think I can probably find some time where I'm going between photo and video, and I'm in photo, and I go, oh, I'm just gonna ramp this, and I can get kind of a raw video clip as B-roll or whatever for a second,
Yeah.
which is sick.
Do you have some sports stuff lined up?
Just the shooting stuff that I do for work.
Yeah.
So and then the other huge thing is I went to part-time at my job
That is huge.
at the shooting job. I'm picking up a bunch of other work. I'm working with a couple of other companies. So I'll be kind of mixing it up. Right now, a lot of it's still firearms related, but it's in like a different space a little bit. Um,
Is this kind of like a freelancy thing?
let's call it that for now, but
Yeah.
the possibility of basically being still full time in that industry is the case.
Sure.
I'm just trying to, do it the right way, and I
Yeah.
still have work to do at Jaegerworks, so I'm not just like gonna leave that place.
Totally.
I love that place to death. So, yeah, that's interesting. It gives me a little bit more opportunity to kind of explore different shooting scenarios. We did a demo for some bolt action rifles at a range Friday night, uh, in which it was weird. It was set up. It was not like the most ideal thing. We were doing bolt guns on an indoor range or whatever, but just to kind of talk about the products. Um, but I was doing video and photo for just like the meeting, and people are like, "Oh yeah, tell me about the action and tell us about all this stuff and like testing it and things like that." So it's cool to be working with just different people because now I'm in very different shooting scenarios that I haven't been recently. So it's cool to not be doing everything for the marketing piece. I'm just the capturer,
Yeah.
and there's other people involved doing the other bits. So that's been good.
Nice.
I have a couple of little video projects coming up um, that probably in the next episode I'll probably have gotten started on, so I can talk about it then.
Mm,
But yeah, things are pretty good.
very good.
I wanted to basically say all that to go. Since the last episode, I haven't had gas for any kind of kit, even though there's millions of awesome things coming out right now. I just don't
Yeah.
care. I finally did the thing where I just got the good camera the first time, and I'm not like, oh, but what if I had? It's like, no, I between my two cameras, I don't need anything. So
Nice.
I've been really focused on trying to just kind of up my game, redo some of my like presets that I use for work, tweak some of my style, and then kind of tailor my shooting for Jaegerworks, for instance, as kind of an exclusive. These edits are kind of my style I shoot for Jaegerworks, and I'm trying to develop what that looks like for this other company, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, it's about shooting, and it's
That's
been awesome.
That's great. It's I think despite what people may think, you can really just enjoy like the news about all this stuff. You can literally just enjoy seeing what's coming out.
But yeah,
Just enjoy what's new and what's cool and not have gas for a minute. Like that can happen.
yeah, and we'll definitely get into it when we start talking about all this new stuff. Like a
Yeah.
bunch of it is stuff that I would never want anyway, even if I had to start fresh. Like some of the lenses and stuff that came out, they're just cool that they exist. Like they're
Yeah,
just like some of it's sick. So
completely.
yeah, it's nice. I have no intention of like dropping all my Sony gear right now. So like all these new Nikon Canon things aren't really like the spice of the life. I have the tools I
Yeah.
need for the jobs that I want to be doing.
Mhm.
And that's tight. So maybe if I end up fuller time at this new job, maybe I'll have them get something new to play with in the studio or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm all set, which is
Good.
I do want to get a bigger lens in Elle's hands. Now that she's getting quite good at shooting and she's meeting her limitations with the 100 to 400, and she's starting to meet the limitations of on one,
Oh yeah. I
because
don't think
she's
that would take very long.
no, and it's just kind of like cleaning up some sticks and stuff when she really gets behind all the little birds,
Mhm.
and the little birds are the tough ones to get the really clean shots of. Like if you really want them to just look nice, it's nice to clean up some of the little twigs and things like that. And
Yeah.
on one is just not intuitive enough to be patient enough to edit
Right.
that stuff well. It's such a
You said that
pain.
perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Mhm.
capable. It has a lot of power,
Mhm.
but it's just not intuitive, and it's kind of
When you dig
a
through just
drag.
the surface level and have to find that thing that's really gonna up the game, you gotta wait.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what's been going on with your shooting and all that? Because I know you've been doing all sorts of like, you've been doing birds, you've been doing stuff with other folks up north.
Yeah. The photo club group, Secret Society of the Finch thing is still going strong. Still have the monthly meetings, but some of us have kind of taken into forming some smaller subgroups that kind of go out between those monthly meetings. So I have like this little chat with a couple of them. I think our little like aside group chat is called Detail Freaks, and it'll be like three of us or four of us will go out and just, hey, let's go look for textures. Like all of us just enjoy doing that, so we'll go out and do that together. Or like a couple of us will go out and do Milky Way, or Astro, and that's what I've been doing. So the
Nice.
Detail Freak stuff, I've been going out. I took some pictures of like mushrooms and stuff the other day. I've had, I think, three astrophotography outings with some folks, and that's been a lot of fun. I've been editing astro like crazy. We had Northern Lights a little while ago. They weren't crazy, but it was enough to satiate for a little while.
Right. Yeah.
Made a little time lapse out of that, and stuff I've posted. I think if you go to my Instagram right now, it's like the last like 6 or 8 posts are all like Milky Way basically. But so a lot of astro, and yes, the birds are back. And I'm curious for you because fall migration really started like 2, 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
like and we're in good swing now. For me, like yesterday, I saw like I probably photographed 10 species in 1 hour session, which is amazing. Like coming off of summer, in
Yeah.
the middle of summer, things really start to slow down a little bit as things kind of moved out, or it just happens. But in the fall, things come back, and I'm learning more about like the way that fall migration operates differently from spring migration, and that different species operate on different time frames for when they come back and how long they stay and those types of things.
Right.
So it's interesting for me to see like, okay, I had indigo bunting, scarlet tanager, a bunch of these other types of birds that like all came at once in the spring, but I never saw them for some reason. And now I'm hitting them like 1 week, and then I got a couple different types of warblers like a week later or 2 weeks later, and they're not all hanging around for as long as they
Right.
do in the spring. In the fall, they kind of come in sections,
Yeah.
and like a week at a time, there will be different birds to stay for a couple of days, and then they'll move down, and then the week later, more birds will come down. So it's very interesting. I'm learning a lot, and that's fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the big aspect of that, right, is that there's not birds all in breeding plumage. They're not as loud.
Right.
So finding the smaller birds can be really challenging because they're like
Yeah.
most of them are dead silent. Yeah,
True.
so it's a totally different experience. You could
It
still find
is.
some wild birds, but it's like spring, especially if you get to a hot spot, it's like easy mode and you're like, birding is amazing.
Yeah.
I've found everything. And then like you got to work for it in the fall. It's a different game.
Well, what I'm wondering with you is because you live on the southern portion of the state, and we operate on different time frames for fall colors. Now, a lot of birds have moved through and are either with you, or you'll see soon, or are gone. Have you? Do you have any spots that have fall colors that are popping yet at all?
We're getting some reds and stuff, but it's still pretty green.
Yeah.
And frankly, we haven't birded that much,
Sure.
so I don't have a ton of really hard experience. Elle's been out a bunch of times by herself, and has gotten some pretty lucky draws, with some cool birds. But
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. Been harder to get into. Like I said, it's much more work. So like you
Yeah.
gotta like want it. You gotta be 100 at it to get into it. But right now we're still seeing a handful of different warbs. We're seeing a lot of different flycatchers.
Yeah.
I think we saw a yellow belly flycatcher today.
Nice.
Yellow bellied flycatcher. Um, and some other little guys. Elle found a black pole, I think, the other day.
Oh,
She's
nice.
Yeah, and which is very challenging in not breeding plumage, but she was just after it, and it kept coming up on Merlin, and she was like trying and trying, and then she finally got a bird ID group to positively ID that she got one, I think. So
That's cool too, because if I remember right, and I could be wrong, I think blackpoll is one of the birds that has like the longest migration travel. So like it goes like so far north in Canada and then back home so far south. So it's harder to get those during migration because they just have so far to go, so they
yeah,
don't hang around very long.
right, yeah,
And I've never seen one, so that's really cool.
yeah,
But I've been having a lot of fun with birding. Just yesterday and a couple days before that, and I'm really putting the effort into learning because I don't want to go like next year or any year after this and miss the opportunities.
yeah,
Because last year I was like, oh, I'll just wait for peak fall colors and whatever I get will be great. Well, I missed most of the birds doing that,
yeah,
and I misunderstood what fall migration really meant.
right,
So this year I'm learning about it. Start when the birds are coming. It seems obvious, but I'm learning
right,
that,
yeah,
and take what you can get through the start of the fall transition. And so where I'm at in Ishpeming, the trail that I took you guys at, where I
yeah,
go all the time, the colors are starting to pop already. It's looking really nice in some spots, and thankfully, I'm grateful that the spots where the birds hang out, there's lots of color already. So I have like 1,500 shots from yesterday that I got to look through, and I looked at the back of the camera and was really happy with a bunch of them. So I'm excited. I got a couple lifers too.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, I saw you finally got your indigo bunting the other day, right?
Yeah, I got my
Yeah,
female indigo bunting and my female scarlet tanager that are both brown.
yeah. You gotta take it where you can.
I will take that
You gotta
win, but
take it.
next
Yeah.
year I better get some colorful birds.
Yeah, I think Elle is close to hitting. She's well over 200 species this year.
Nice.
I think she's gonna break 300. Um, so yeah, she's a legend.
I think after this, I might be close to like 120. I have a lot of editing catch up to do,
Yeah.
so I'm happy with those results. But
Dude, I think I might have like wiped a couple cards with like multiple days of birds or something because I can't find tons of them, and I just got so
no,
worn out of editing them because
yeah,
I'm doing all the editing for work and stuff, and I've been moving a lot of data between my spare hard drives that I take to and from work on the work
yeah.
computer. But yeah, it's brutal because there's definitely lifers that I should have that I don't think I have photos of now.
Ugh,
But
dang.
it be like that.
I
It's a
guess.
lot of work. We've just done so much freaking birding this year. So
Yeah.
we've taken a ton of trips and things. So
So on top of that, a lot of stuff for work, but I do want to shout out the Discord a little bit because
yeah,
we were talking about this morning with our photo club. Just that we have this biweekly photo challenge now, and it's just a couple of us. And I don't think everybody who would want to join the Discord would like just be ready to join this kind of thing because it's very casual. I think we've only done 3, but every 2 weeks I'm kind of like just throwing a prompt out there, and that's been fun to just kind of keep me thinking. Yesterday I was in my house and just saw the light come through during sunset in one of my bathrooms in a very cool way, and in 2 spots I have 2 windows where the sun comes through and hit 2 different walls in a very interesting way because it has to pass through some trees and leaves and stuff, and it casts some shadows. And I think I got 2 good low key images for the newest prompt for high key and low key. So I'm just it's like it's got me thinking, continuously thinking about doing some photography in maybe different ways than I normally think about it and approach it. So
yeah.
that's been cool. So just one little tiny feature that the Discord has, and you should check it out.
Yeah, I have a little guilt associated with my busyness because I haven't even barely been in the Discord in the last like 2 weeks, but
That's okay.
it's a great spot. I
Hmm.
I plan to now that I'm shaking out some of this employment stuff. I'll be more
Yeah,
regular, especially because I have a lot more work from home days now.
that's nice.
Which is going to be super epic. I won't be driving 12 hours a week, but yeah, the bi-weeklies are cool, and then hopefully that will help strengthen our photo shares for the channel.
Yeah,
So, which again we'll talk about at the end of the episode because I'm excited about the next photo share, and I think it'll be interesting if we can get participation. It's going to be a little bit more intense than just going to snap a photo somewhere.
right.
But yeah, outside of that, anything else going on with photography or work or your life
Gosh,
or
that's about it. Work's just been smooth, so yeah,
take that, take
yeah.
that. Yeah, that's
It
awesome.
it's busy, but it's stable, and it's like I have like information from last year now to really kind of help inform me
Yeah,
and how we operate through the fall and getting into the holidays. So it's all right. We're doing good.
nice. Yeah, and I really like seeing the astro stuff. I really wanted to get out for I think the last lunar eclipse.
Yeah.
There's so much that I'd love to be doing, but at least I can vicariously live through you fellas going out there and doing some nice stuff. It's almost a bummer we haven't had like a really nasty aurora yet.
I
'Cause,
know.
like, we were
Yeah.
spoiled last year, dude, like,
Last year
was there
was gnarly.
5? Like, 5 insane shows? 2, like, really
2 for
lifetime epic
sure.
ones? Yeah.
Yeah. And 2 of those were basically back to back between a 3-day span.
Yeah.
And so there must have been another 1 or 2 at the, like, start of the year
Yeah.
last year too. This year, yeah, has been quite quiet. So that's why I jumped on it to get out when I saw
Yeah.
that there was it was like an M2 or something solar flare that also was lined up pretty good with a coronal hole that is facing us or was facing us at the time. So there was some supplementary stuff from the sun that helped that out. but it was okay. That night was fine. You couldn't really see much with the naked eye, but the camera picked it up quite nice.
Yeah,
And
I saw a couple of people had some nice shots.
I will say, now that I'm thinking about some of those nights, for the first time, me and Tony, Vision and Tone on Instagram, he's in the Discord, and he's also in the photo club, and it happens to be my neighbor. So we've been like kind of ride sharing and stuff for some of this stuff. We took a trip out to Bond Falls in the Ontonagon area, near like Porcupine Mountains and stuff. And Bond Falls is an amazing waterfall. If you're familiar with it in Michigan, it's one of the bigger ones. It's just spectacular, tall cascades, nice and wide, easy access. Um, and so we rolled up to multiple different locations. We hit Agate Falls, Jumbo Falls in that area, roughly like 15 minutes apart from each other, and did some waterfall shooting. I guess I forgot to mention that, but we had planned to stay at Bond Falls at night and waited for the Milky Way, because using like Stellarium and a couple other apps like Photo Pills and stuff, you can kind of see where the Milky Way is going to line up. When you plan your trips like that, it's super valuable to have information like that. So we waited, had to wait until about midnight for the moon to set, because it was like, I don't know, a little more than halfway full, but it was quite bright. We had some clouds, but man, when the clouds moved out and the moon went down, to see the Milky Way, the core of the Milky Way behind Bond Falls, was so cool. And just being there at night and no one else is there and you're just doing your art. It's a cool experience.
Yeah, heck yeah.
And yeah, and Agate Falls and Jumbo Falls were great too. We just kind of had a little like Youper day. It took a couple hours drive and it was nice. It
Yeah,
was very
heck
nice.
yeah. That's awesome. Getting after it.
Yeah. So that's it for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I got some pretty chaotic stuff happening soon, but hopefully a little bit more actual photography just for fun.
Sure.
Because that looks like a blast.
Yeah, it was.
All right, man. I mean, this is a pill here. This is a box of pills. This is
Yeah.
a whole week pill minder.
Hit it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna shotgun down what I have. If there's anything else that I don't mention, feel free to add it here at the end. I think I have like, I don't know, 10 things here or something like
I'm
that.
probably just gonna not, so go for it.
Perfect. I think I know what we're gonna talk about the most, but I'll kind of go
Yeah.
from like the what I think is just like brief to really intense. So we have the Lao and the Sigma 200 mil f2s, which are
Those are cool.
they're wild. I would never reuse one, I don't think, but like really cool primes.
Yeah.
Sigma has the 135 f1.4, which is insane.
I
They
really like to see that. There's a couple 135 1/8s that a lot of
Yeah,
people use for different reasons. You had one
yeah,
for a little while, I believe, and a lot of people use 135 1/8 for astrophotography tracking
yeah,
because they're relatively compact to be on a tracking system, and at 1/8 you collect a lot of light. So to see Sigma do it at 1.4 and still be relatively close to that size is really cool.
right,
And I'm sure it's going to be hella sharp.
yeah. But then they also released a slew of other things. So the 35 mil 1.2 Mark II, the 20 to 200 f3.5 to 6.3, the 12
Yeah.
millimeter f1.4 DC.
Yeah.
Tamron also did a 25 to 200 that I think is a little cooler than the Sigma because it's f2.8 to 5.6.
Yeah,
And
but is that gonna operate similarly to the 35 to 150 where you lose a lot of that aperture pretty quickly?
I mean, probably, but
Yeah.
as far as like a proper travel lens, like you can do a lot with 25 to 8.
And
That
yes, absolutely you
that's
can.
just pretty awesome. Like even if it's only 25, like sweet.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Hasselblad did their lidar and 10 stops of image stabilization,
X2D2.
X2D2.
Yeah.
A
I've been
little
seeing a lot of that.
Yeah, well, that's because they keep giving creators the camera for free.
Yeah,
Um, Nikon, this is actually a handful of weeks earlier, but Nikon released the 24 to 72.8 S Mark II,
they sure did.
and I really want to see them refresh the S series primes and make them not so long. Because
Yeah.
I think the only thing I don't like about the Nikon setup is all those primes are like weirdly long, and I don't
Yep.
understand why that is. Like their 20 mil is kind of insane.
Well, it's supposedly to not have to rely on digital corrections, is what I had gathered from other people's talking about it. They're an optics company, and it seemed like that's what they wanted to go for first, was correct optics in the lens. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't think they have to be that big, but
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know. They're long for sure.
yeah.
Um, Ricoh GR4, and
Can
then
we stop there? What do you think of that? Because you had the 3.
yeah, I had the 3X, which was the 40 mil one. This one is the 28. I guess it's got a new lens. It's cool that it's APS-C because the only thing that I really enjoyed about it was when you actually ended up pulling the photos off, you're still expecting it to be a flat pocket like garbage digital camera, and then you're like, oh, this is an APS-C sensor. This is actually like a pretty awesome photo.
Yeah,
Um, but I just, dude, it feels like a toy.
yeah.
It does
That's
it
the sticking point to me that
People are
I'll
like,
never
"Oh,"
forget.
they're like, "Oh, you could put it in your pocket." I'm like, "Yeah, but what if like lint gets like in the little flipper to block the lens or like what like
And I've heard that
dude.
dust was a big issue with the 3.
Yeah, I don't
And
know, man.
supposedly they made some adjustments to that.
It would be so sick if it was like an $800 camera, but like I
Right.
thought it was brutal at a grand and 1500 is like, oh,
That's
frick.
beyond tariff adjustments. That's
Yeah,
rough.
that's yeah, it's dude, there's like I would just go get an A6700 because it's less
Yeah.
than 1500 and you can put sick glass on it.
Mhm.
And it's like really not, at that I don't know. I don't know. That one's not for me. That one's not for me. It's for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could live with a tiny APS-C 28 mil camera. Um,
Yeah.
28 fast 28s on a full frame sensor can be kind of nice, but I think you're just looking at like most stuff is in focus on that, and it's just kind of I don't know. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Fair enough.
but yeah, 1500. I would just like I gagged a little. I was like, okay, I'd go buy. And I'm not even super stellar into Fujifilm stuff, but like we're talking about a good Fujifilm at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is just a little bit more versatile. Um, and then the biggest news right now that's kind of, there's a lot of bad hot takes and there's a whole bunch of nonsense around it, for good and bad reasons. But the Canon C50 and the ZR,
Yeah.
from Nikon, these cameras, it's almost like both of them weren't allowed to say this is an FX3 killer because like that's just kind of a faux pas. But they asked every single creator on the planet to in
Yeah.
their title and thumbnail say FX3 killer. Which I get it. They are direct. Well, the C50 is a direct
The
competitor
C50 for sure.
to.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of unfortunate that like that's the headline, right? Because it's kind of like saying, I don't know, pick like the best MMA fighter ever, and then saying like, he's like, or saying like Steph Curry when he was at his prime, he's like, oh yeah, is it the Michael Jordan killer? It's like Michael Jordan
Mm,
did his thing and was Michael
right.
Jordan. He's not killing. It's not that. It's not the same. This is years later. They had something that could contend with one of the best video cameras that Sony or anybody has ever made. Like, have a better take.
If
That
you think
that's my hot
that
take.
stills cameras and the differences between stills cameras are niche and suited for certain particular things, you haven't really looked into cinema cameras at all, because
Um,
those guys are built out very, very particularly for different jobs. The C50 and the ZR are very different
yeah.
cameras.
And so I'm gonna just jump on Gerald Undone's coattails because
Yeah,
I think as far as the ZR goes, he says it is competing more with like a ZV-E1,
sure.
which I agree with. The thing that it does well, because I've watched a couple other guys who are not quite as popular, creators who run Reds, uh, even though the red code in it is 12-bit, what this afforded anybody on a real set is now they have a color matched $2,000 camera that they could blow up if
Yes.
they want. If they're
Yes.
using like a Monstro or something, now they have this like itty bitty camera. I think the freaking huge screen is awesome. I
Yes.
think they did a ton of things right, and other than maybe battery, I just actually sorry. Other than battery and the fact that they put a freaking micro
Yeah.
HDMI in it, which is dumb.
Can we talk about that for 1 second though? You've got Because I don't know.
Yeah.
Do cinema shooters rely on redundant recording? Like, do they like if it had two CF Express Type Bs, is that something they'd use?
I don't know. I think some people maybe. I think a lot more creator people talk about that. I think a lot of really big cameras don't do that.
Right.
And I think a lot of people that are doing cinema level stuff, if you can record in body, they would have an HDMI recorder
Yeah.
recording off it. So
Yeah.
you would have two completely separate things. So I'm not worried about them having a micro SD and a CF Express B. I don't
Like,
mind that.
I just wonder, people who want a $2,000, like, cinema B or C cam, how many of them feel burned that this doesn't have 2 SDs or
Not many.
I didn't think
I
so.
be and here's why. Because if you're shooting red code, that little camera is not gonna record red code raw to two cards in any meaningful way. That's not gonna burn that camera in half.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, running two CF Express B cards in that tiny body would
They'd
melt
melt.
would melt the metal on
Like,
that thing.
that
If
is not even legitimately
if
that's not a joke.
if you're listening and you haven't used CF Express Type A or B, because you're still on, like, obviously you can still. I'm running SD cards still, really,
Yeah,
V90 SD cards. But I have here, which is a very tiny. I don't know if it'll pop, but a very tiny CF Express Type A. This tiny card will burn your fingers if you shoot a bunch of 4K 120 on it and then immediately pull it out and like pinch your fingers on it. It'll be
yeah.
so freaking hot. So you're just not going to do that. You're not going to do that in something that's not actively
Yeah,
cooled at minimum. As far as I know, a lot of the older big cinema cameras, they only had one card anyway.
yeah,
And you're just kind of SOL if you have, a DIT, you have all this stuff where people are dumping footage and they're backing stuff up on location and everything like that.
yeah.
So it's just a different kind of thing. So again, that's not a big deal. But the fact that the Z6 III has a full-size HDMI and this doesn't is just weird to me.
It is
Um,
weird,
because
yes.
if you've ever, and I get it, it's small, it's whatever. I just feel like they might have dropped the ball on that one because if you've ever used a mini or a micro or any of the other HDMIs, they're garbage and they
Yeah,
break
right.
and they're finicky. And if you're using some kind of external recorder, the amount of drops you'll get that will make
Mhm.
that whole take just basically garbage. It's huge.
At the
It's
same
brutal.
time, I think everyone can understand the position of Nikon where they went, "But we gave you this giant screen."
Yeah,
How many of you are really gonna want that capability because we gave you this groundbreaking giant
right.
screen, right?
Well,
And I
but
think as a B or C cam, if you're run and gun, I think a lot of people are gonna like that. Not that it doesn't have full size HDMI.
here's why.
Tell me.
Because I think this is going to be used more nichely than a run and gun camera. I think this is going to be used in like weird car rigs. I think this is going to be
Mm,
used in things where they're going to want to like maybe have it external and tether the monitor on the inside of the car, for instance, something like that.
mm,
There's so many cases where you're just like rigging up a small camera for it to do things a bigger camera can't do, that you still want to be able to hook it up to a recorder or even a transmitter so you can have a wireless feed. And you're
I
just
see
not
what
going to
you're
be able to do that.
saying.
It's brutal. And that's that. I mean, you put red cinema on it. So like it's really hard. If it was just Nikon, if it wasn't a co-branded camera, if it was like Nikon only that had red code, sure. But Red's name is on the back and so is their cinema
Yeah,
branding.
that's true, and I'm not gonna disagree, it should have a full size HDMI. I just think that there's also this subset of buyers who are looking at this as their, like, first taste of a cinema camera, who are gonna be okay with this because of that slash down price. It's cheaper than a Z6 III.
Well, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I just like this is going to be a really hard stop for a lot of the power users that we're
Sure.
gonna get. I don't. It seems like something, even though it's a small camera, they just should have had, and that's being nitpicky
Well,
because it's probably the best sub $2,500 video camera I've seen in a while.
if I can pull something out of, I guess, recent history from Nikon, like new camera has some features, maybe could be better. Sounds kind of like when they released the ZFC, gave it a home for some niche people, and then they made a better one called the ZF, and I'm wondering, do we get a
Yeah,
ZRX or something
yeah.
maybe
I
next
mean,
year?
if they were, whatever their next sensor is going to be, because they're going to update the Z9 and the Z8
Yeah.
eventually. I don't think they're going to do it soon. I wouldn't.
No, I don't think
Those
so either.
sensors are awesome and those cameras work great. But they could. And
We may get an announcement for Z9 II next year.
yeah, something. But and honestly, even if they ended up using that same sensor,
Mhm.
if especially if it was actively cooled and they could pull a little processing out of it,
Yeah.
then I just think the Nikon Red collaborative launches will still exist, and they'll probably have a line of them,
Yeah.
um, on top of Monstros and full box camera Reds.
Yeah.
Because why not? That's the smartest acquisition that I think any camera company has ever done.
Oh,
Um,
it was very opportunistic for Nikon.
yeah, it's epic.
This honestly, like, just the branding alone is going to be a boost for them. But the fact that this actually looks like an exciting, capable camera in a lot of ways
Yeah,
is such good news.
yeah, it's $2,200.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have the new group of YouTube kids,
Mhm.
uh, like shooting on these, and it's gonna be epic. You can do
Yeah.
again. The main caveat being that it's only 12-bit RAW, but like, dude, it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
For the price tag, that's what people are gonna do. And again, the guys that are gonna have this on big sets, they're gonna use this as crash cams and stuff, and they're gonna be able to get footage that's 12-bit red code, and it'll match with a Monstro, and it's gonna be awesome. So it's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Uh, Big fan. The Canon C50, definitely more of a powerful camera,
Yeah.
definitely more FX3 killer or whatever.
Right.
I think it's 33 megapixels or something like that, or
It is.
35 something.
I think 33. Yeah.
Um, and even like Peter McKinnon says that he's probably going to use this as his like full-on camera now, like
Is that
first.
a global shutter?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
If that was, I feel like that'd be like headline number one. It's a 33 megapixel global shutter sensor would be, yeah.
I'm trying to remember some of the more nuanced details of that camera, and I
I
thought there was something special about the sensor, but maybe
I
not.
spent almost no time on it.
Mhm.
Uh, it's just not like they don't have the glass for me to go, oh, cool, a really awesome body to switch to, because like their glass is insanely. It's like if I wasn't at Sony and if Sony only had G Master glass, I would never recommend people to go buy a Sony
Right.
because it's
And
insane.
it seems interesting too because while it is definitely quite a capable cinema camera, I'm seeing people talk, and again, I don't live in the cinema camera world, but I'm seeing more people call back to the C80 having built-in ND filters, which
Yeah.
is a big deal in that world,
But
where the C50 does not, nor does it have stabilization. And I don't know if the C80 does, but that's kind of a big deal too, versus the ZR, which does have stabilization
yeah,
in that small body too.
but most people that actually want to use a cinema camera don't care, and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and even me, who I don't really do the cinema thing anymore. Like that was a dream of mine long ago, was to get into proper narrative movie making and stuff. I make content and I tell stories and I
yeah,
use whatever I can. IBIS cameras can be a pain in the butt.
sure,
Like to turn off IBIS and stuff, you get kind of weird. There's just like there's a lot of little quirky things that happen when you do have IBIS.
yes.
Um,
You're telling me I scrapped a recent video because of this IBIS on this with this 16 millimeter lens.
yeah,
I
I
cannot
bet.
vlog with the Viltrox 16 millimeter. I made a whole video. I'm like, this is unwatchable.
Yeah, it's brutal. But yeah, so the C50 is nuts. I was surprised that Peter McKinnon said he was going to use it as his travel photo camera, his movie camera, his like take
He'll
everywhere
say
thing.
anything, dude. It's
Uh,
crazy.
I mean, he does. He says more negative stuff about it than a lot of guys. Like
No, I mean to
but
say, like, I don't
no,
think he
no,
doesn't mean it.
no,
I
no,
just think
no.
it's like he'll do anything, you
Yeah,
know?
because he's just a goofy guy. But
Yeah,
it's a really strong for a guy that can use literally any Canon camera he wants.
yeah,
He's like, oh, I love this thing. It's freaking sick. It's tiny
sure.
and awesome. And that's probably the best take to have about it, because again, if you're already running, I guess Canon cinema cameras, I don't really know anybody using like C200s or
Right,
Mark II, 300s or 500s. I don't really know anybody using them anymore.
right.
I used to, probably 5 years ago. A lot of people still loved like the C500 and stuff. I knew some professionals that were doing like high-end music videos and things like that loved it, but because they're raw and their C log is decent. Um, but yeah, I don't like the Nikon makes sense, right? Because it's a camera that you can match to like Reds.
Yeah,
The Lumix cameras are nice, right? Because they kinda can work as like crash cams and stuff for REs, and they have
sure.
like decent color. The Sonys are nice because they can go up to the FX, up to the like Burano and the Venice, right? So
Venice.
they have like such a huge way to go, where they're like support systems, but it just doesn't. It's not the same for Canon,
Right.
in my opinion. But I could be wrong. I know documentary guys used to love them, but now I don't know a documentary. I don't even know of a documentary person who prefers Canon to Sony's like FX6 and FX3s.
Sure. A couple more interesting notes about the ZR. The cageless design was a choice. I know it's probably to help make that a very compact body. And then what was the other thing? Oh, the heat dissipation.
Yeah,
That thing apparently doesn't overheat with no fan,
yeah.
which is for like the raw recording capabilities, and like we were talking about how hot those cards can get, to not have a fan. And we're talking about like comparing, like going back to the A7S III, which had an active fan that cool.
Does
No,
not. Yeah,
oh, it does not.
that FX3 does. Yes.
What's it? The R5C. There's a couple other bodies, right, that have that active cooling,
Yeah.
which seemed necessary
Yeah.
until this camera. And I guess the A7S III, I was unaware. I thought that did have an active cool
No, it
fan.
doesn't.
But people seemingly have put it through some paces already. Like people who got it early, and they're
Yeah.
like, the battery just dies first,
Yeah.
which is like an hour and 20 or an hour 40 or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
which
crazy.
is fine. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I want to see some more. I saw a couple of like short films that were shot on it that were really
Huh?
fun to watch. That's my new favorite way to see new camera content.
Okay.
Is somebody just is like, this is just a short film that happens to be shot on this new camera.
Do you have
Um,
any recs from what you've seen so far?
Mark Bone did one. Another guy, I'll have to try to link him. He's the guy that was talking about it because he uses it with his Monstro and stuff. He had a lot of actual commercial footage that he shot on it.
Talking about ZR?
The ZR, yeah, both
Okay.
for Mark Bone as well. And yeah, so that's just cool. I want to get to the point where when new gear comes out, they don't tell me any of the specs because it's plastered on every single text post ever.
Yeah.
Just show epic stuff made, and then just tell me when what I'm looking at isn't made with that gear.
Yeah.
Because that was fun. I think most of the content I consumed, other than Petapixel, was well, and Gerald was just like watching people what they made with it. Epic, super
And I
fun.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm just watching other stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The other crazy the last thing that I had to know about the C50 from Canon was their open gate, huge that they're
Yeah.
going
Oh,
open gate
yeah.
as well, but their I think maybe raw whatever their high codec is, it's like 1,000 megabits a second.
Wow.
And like Sony's like the FX3 A7S3's like best gnarliest codec is 600.
Mhm.
That's gonna chew through cards
Oh,
like
yes.
crazy, and I think that's for the 7K open gate at whatever the best frame rate is, maybe. But I was like, who is that even usable? Because you
You're
got
making
like
like 8-second shorts
yeah,
and
you got like
chewing through gigabytes.
yeah, you got 2 terabyte cards in that thing, and how's that even work? I don't even want to put that on my computer. My computer's
Yeah.
already heating up hearing me talk about 1,000 megabit per second codec.
That's
And I'm sure
funny.
it's great. And I'm sure the guys that have it. I'm curious to see, like I said, some more like actual projects shot on it, and maybe a little BTS to see how it was utilized
Yeah.
because they're both exciting. Um, Sony naturally waited. They were taking their sweet time. Everybody just got back
Yeah.
from Condo though, so they just had a Condo event, and nothing has been leaked yet as of recording this episode.
Impressive. I
Um,
haven't been paying attention to Kondo.
yeah, I didn't see any content from it other than like the
Interesting.
stories that people are like, "We're going to Sony Condo," and
Where
then
did
they're
it
like,
take place?
I don't know. I didn't even
Oh,
look into it
wow.
that much. Yeah, it was. I saw that some people were going, and that was it. Been too busy to try and like investigate further. But Sony Alpha Rumors hasn't said anything else. There's some spats about what the A75 might look like,
Yeah.
but other than that, we don't really have any good information. So yeah,
Yeah. All right. It's very heavy.
Yeah. I think we did pretty good. I think we caught up. We talked about pretty much all the important bits of gear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's pretty good. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you're watching this episode, you should drop us some comments. What have you been shooting? Send us some links. DM us on Instagram. Those are on the screen. You can
Mm-hmm.
always reach out to us, and then join the Discord and let's chat.
Yes.
Uh, our photo share. I can't remember. Was this one your idea?
I think this was you.
Oh, well then, sick.
Maybe it was my subject, but you took it. So let's
Sure.
do it.
So yeah. Whoever came up with it, great idea. But the the caveat or like the added feature was that let's try to do like 3 to 5 images. So we're telling a story about our neighborhoods, right? You can do 3 to 5. Try to put together like a little photography story. Establishing shots, some details, maybe a character in there somewhere, and then just try to like curate a handful of images that tell a stranger what would you want a stranger to know about your neighborhood? And by neighborhood, I mean your city. I mean your literal neighborhood, the street you live on. If that's a little too personal and you don't want that out there, your favorite places to hang out in
Mm.
in your town, in your city, and maybe the place you grew up. Maybe you don't even live there anymore, but you want to go back and take some photos and tell a cool little story. Give us a little blurb. The email will be in the description of this video for you to submit, or you can reach out to us in the Discord,
Mm-hmm.
because we're gonna share those. Basically, you submit them to us with the details on your photos and things. We'll put them up on the screen, and David and I will talk about them kind of live as we record,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a good time.
It is a good time, and I think if you're not sure about Discord, you should consider it because there's a lot of things happening in there that maybe you would join it for one thing or the other. But what we often like to do is just we have a bunch of little threads in there, but like we have a photo gear thread in there for like leaks or rumors or whatever, and we'll just talk about what's being talked about online, which is kind of fun to do before we actually do an episode because we're going back and forth and forming some thoughts and we're throwing some opinions out there. Or if you just want to see some work from some people, there's like some gallery threads that a few of us have posted into so you can see some great work that's just going to live there, which is really cool. If you want to participate in doing some photography, we have those bi-weekly challenges. So there's a bunch of different reasons. And if you only want to do participate with like just talking, and that's totally okay. We'd love to have you.
Yeah. You can share your work, you can share inspiring work, you can talk about movies, we can talk about whatever
Yeah.
we have, spammy, just whatever you want to talk about, spaces in there. There's some voice channels if you want to jump in there. Sometimes the guys are streaming
Hmm.
them edit and you can go in there and chat with them or whatever, and it's
Yeah.
a good time. This is a good caveat. The thing I like most about Discord, and I'm in a few that are like kind of nice little niche communities, is that it's not social media, and that means it's curated just enough that things that I don't want to see don't exist there.
Right.
We don't talk about politics or anything like that on this channel for obvious reasons. We're talking about photography. If for
Hmm.
some reason they bleed into each other, then sometimes we will do that. But we'll have heavy disclaimers in the case. But
Yeah.
what I want to say is, things are wild. The internet is absolutely bananas right now. Um, the best thing you can do if it stresses you out, if you've been having a rough time lately, try to localize your mind. Try to take care of yourself and your friends and your family. Go outside with people, meet up with people, have
Mm.
conversations. It's so easy to just kind of slip into I go to work, I go home, I jump on my phone, I watch Netflix, go to bed, and then I got to go to work.
Yeah.
Do anything you can to change up your day to day, and your mental health will thank you. Talk to real people. Go to a different coffee shop you've never gone to. Go to a restaurant you haven't gone to. Go in and eat there. Go sit down. Um, Basically, anything on your phone can wait. It's not that important.
Good advice.
And you need to take care of yourself because, you know, you're star player number one. But yeah, so that's all we can really do on a daily basis. That's a good place to end. the next couple of episodes, I'm going to try and, well, we're going to do the photo share. That's going to be the brunt of the next episode.
When should people expect a deadline? Roughly 2 weeks?
Yeah, roughly 2 weeks. So we'll likely shoot, what is it today, the 14th? We'll likely shoot not the weekend of the 20th, potentially not even the weekend of the 28th, but we will try. So let's say the 26th of September. That way, if we do shoot on the 27th or 28th, we'll have everything in. Yeah, and if you need a refresher, I'll have a little bit of information down there, but you can jump in the Discord. And, you know, we have a lot of people in there that have a lot of different experiences. If you are new to trying to tell a photo story and you want more clarification on what that means and what that looks like rather than just like snapping pictures, because I know a lot of really good photographers that are like relatively new and they're like getting the technical parts down. But they still are like, what am I like? How do I focus on like trying to thread these images together? There's a lot of nuance to it, and there's a lot of different ways you can go about it, and different experiences will kind of garner very different pieces of advice, and you can take what you want, leave what you want, and you'll probably come out the other side a better storyteller. So, yeah. Anything to add, David?
Not at all.
Sweet. Well,
thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Drop some comments. Chat with us. It's fun.
Yes.
All right.
See you next time.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.